Coming into the infield at third base, who else? Pete Rose. Standing there visiting with Whitey Herzog, who's coaching at third base for the American League, the shortstop. And Don Zimmer, Boston Red Sox manager, coaching at first. Kansas City boss Whitey Herzog at third. Don Zimmer has never coached at first base at any time in his entire life. Ball is hit out to left center field, and on the run, it's Foster. Can't get it. Carew doesn't care whether it's All-Star Game or whether it's Minnesota. He's going for 3, and he will be there with a triple.
That should surprise nobody. He was the top vote getter.
He sees it. Foster throws it to nobody. There's nobody there. It's throwing it all the way to third base, and he just goes from second to third and makes it easily.
Obviously, smart baseball man, he saw the lack of a cutoff there and took the liberty. And George Brett is at the plate. Carew in 10 All-Star games, 3 for 27 all singles. So as he comes to his 12th, he's suddenly opening up a new page. Brett sharply, left center field, base hit. Carew scores. American leads 1-0. As Brett going for 2, the throw is off Morgan. Blue backs him up and holds Brett at second. A triple and a double for the American League to start the game.
It seems a long time ago, Don, that I mentioned that the absences of Jackson, Yastrzemski, and Munson had drawn this team more closely together. But that's the fact, and quickly the American League evidences it.
Here's Rod Carew, having scored the first run of the ball game after an opening triple doubled home by George Brett. The batter is Jim Rice. Brett at second, nobody out. Top of the first inning. Blue greeted by Carew's triple, Brett's double. American League breaking on top 1-0. Rice hits it on the ground to Morgan. Joe in the sunshine looks at Brett go to third and throws out. Jim Rice 1 away.
Well, there's a case in point, All-Star Game or what have you. Here's Jim Rice, a run in. Brett at second base. Here's the man that's leading the major leagues in home runs and RBIs.
Zisk started the season as a designated hitter at Texas, then to right field, back to DH, then to left field when Al Oliver got hurt. He has knocked across 51 runs, and George Brett waiting at third with 1 out.
This game is very important to Carlton Fisk. Why? His rivalry with Thurman Munson through the years. This is his 6th All-Star appearance, as the public address announcer noted a few moments ago.
Ball is hit in the air to the right side. Rick Mundy coming. Joe Morgan going back, and Morgan makes the catch. The throw will not be in time. Sliding in from third base is George Brett, and the American League leads 2-0 with Steve Rogers warming up in the bullpen for the National League. That was a heck of a play by Joe Morgan defensively.
Well, there's a good play by Morgan and a very heads-up play by the runner at third, Brett, and his manager, Whitey Herzog. If Morgan makes the play, Brett goes. If Mundy makes a play, he does not go, because Mundy's coming to the plate. The man makes a play going away into shallow right field, and he scores easily.
Right on the button, Twindy. He takes this game seriously, too. I talked to him about the fact that some had suggested that manager Martin was saving his own man, Ron Guidry. And as you look at Billy,
Cindy Garvey, wife of Steve, Dodger first baseman.
Number 2, Fred Patek, shortstop.
Responsible for the patch on Steve's chin. He really took a whack there. He came right back the next day, though, and ripped a double.
Had 20 stitches taken in his chin.
Fred Patek.
Cindy was only worried about Steve's teeth. Watch closely to see if they would turn blue, the telltale sign of loss.
1-1 to Fred Patek. You were mentioning the selection system. The Kansas City shortstop. This game, first time he has been chosen by the baseball public. He said right up front, if the public had not voted him the trip to the All-Star game, he would not have come. Goes back to a relatively bad experience in 1972. He was told he had been selected for the team, then was taken off. And he chops one for a base hit. So little Freddie is on at first base.
Well, they entered introduce Freddie Patek as the smallest man on the All-Star squad. He might be the smallest man, that's true, but I'll guarantee you he's got one of the biggest hearts.
I think one of the best pictures I've ever seen was during the playoffs last year, covered by NBC, when Patek was shown sitting in the dugout after the elimination by the Yankees, all alone, isolated, the whole agony of defeat, as Jim McKay would say, typified by the picture.
The pitcher, Jim Palmer, puts it down. Blue has it, throws to first. So the inning is over as the American League strands a base runner, but they lead the game after 1.5, 2-0. With one out, Luzinski on second and Garvey at first, in the American League leading in the bottom of the second inning by a score of 2-0. Palmer trying to put out the 5. There's Luzinski at second, and Garvey's over at first. 1-2 pitch. Hit to the third baseman. Brett over to second, one, back to first, double play. And so the double play gets the American League out of hot water. They still lead it 2-0 after 2.
He'll look down again. He gives up, but he has a chance to make the catch. That hits at the base of the wall. Carew, as we said before, just an excellent base runner. This time he hits the cutoff man, but no chance.
George Brett sends Foster deep to the track, to the wall. The tag by Carew, and he easily scores after that long drive by Brett, and the American League leads 3-0. 26 times players have tripled in All-Star games, but nothing in the record books tells you about people who have hit 2 successive triples. Now Rod Carew occupies another space. Strike from Palmer. Boa on first. Nobody out. 3-0 American League. Bottom of the third inning. Time called a moment. Loose baseman.
If you don't think, and he says, I'm not going to.
Here goes Boa. The pitch swung on and missed. The throw back missed, not in time.
Boa had the base easily stolen on Jim Palmer. You could all see the jump he had.
Smith strikes out.
Well, you see the big high leg kick of Jim Palmer. Boa, an excellent base runner. Freddie Patek just satisfied to make the catch of the ball. Hold him there. There's the jump. And he gets going, and he can accelerate. Boy, this little guy has been a great key to that Philadelphia ball club.
Bottom of the third inning. 2 men out. National League trailing 3-0.
Billy Martin goes to the mound to talk to Jim Palmer for a moment.
And let's go down to Bob Uecker, who has Vita Blue with him. Well, Billy's been out once already. Billy and Whitey Herzog.
Net.
Bases are still loaded, and Garvey. They'll appeal it. They ask Shylock, and it's strike.
And the fun's gone for that man, Billy Martin, too. Interestingly, this time when Palmer pitched to Luzinski, he did not go to the curveball. Everything was fast. Everything was high.
You just can't afford to make a mistake on these guys. There's no easy man in this lineup.
Garvey hits it sharply, left field, base hit. Here comes Morgan to the plate. Here comes Foster to the plate. He scores. The game is even at 3.
So with 22 stitches in his chin, Garvey, who's gotten a look at Billy Martin, trying to decide right now what to do.
Roller might be a big pot of trouble. It is. Base hit, Simmons.
Complete ball player, as I said.
Fred Patek, the shortstop for the American League. Kansas City Royals. Pitch is high. 274 average on the season for Freddie, and they're the Patek family, Mrs. and the boys. Roy Howell of the Toronto Blue Jays, third baseman, out on deck. There's a hard fastball just hammered in there against Patek for strike one. So Howell is out to hit in the pitcher's spot. The Blue Jays third baseman. Time call. No pitch.
You saw Freddie Patek. He just didn't back out and think that time was going to be automatically called. He called it while he was standing there looking at Roger so that the home plate umpire, Paul Pryor, could hear him. Then Pryor called timeout.
One out. Lynn at second base. Chase Fred back. This fellow Rogers in 20 starts this season has averaged 7 2/3 innings. Ball hit sharply. Boa has it. Go to third. Got him.
I frankly don't understand Lynn on that play. The ball hit sharply and in front of him.
Well, he committed himself and he couldn't stop. He started to go. He knew right there he was wrong because the shortstop is going right towards where the play is going to be made. You see Whitey Herzog saying get down, but the throw there, Rose makes the tag. He can pull a double switch, or he might just say, well, I'll gamble with the bat. There's no question about that.
Freddie has stolen 23, been caught 5 times. Rogers trying to keep him tight.
It'll be interesting to see the leg kick, the leg movement of Rogers, to see what might be going through Patek's mind.
Bluffs it, doesn't go. Pitch is blown away. Patek looking. Howell checking, looking at Whitey Herzog in the third base coaching box. Doesn't go. Time called. Howell stepping out.
Two triples.
Rogers playing catch with Garvey. Strike. Very deliberate moment in the ball game. All tied at 3-3. 2 by the American in the first inning. 1 in the third. National got 3 in the bottom of the third, and Howell has a full rip at a fastball. 2-2. Steve Rogers. Best way to describe him, I suppose, is competitive. Bulldog. There goes Patek. Pitch is foul back.
Now you saw Billy turn him loose when the count went 2-2. Giving Roy Howell a couple of shots to hit through that right side.
Garvey holding. Steve has to move quickly into his defensive posture, and again Howell swinging, fouls it away. This time Patek not running. 3-2 pitch to Howell. Patek going. The ball is hit down to Garvey. Steve will do it himself. And so the inning is over. And we roll along after 3.5, 3-3 tie. And here's Joe Morgan, who I suppose if it had his druthers as a pro baseball player would have been a member of the San Francisco Giants. 2 out. High to the left side. Third baseman coming over. Brett looks, and it's out of reach, and it ricochets off the shoulder or back to the cameraman.
You mentioned Lasorda's overhand curve and that crooked arm. He was once in a pitching duel against Herb Score of Cleveland.
Morgan hits it high in the air to left field. Jim Rice coming in. Shortstop Patek going back. It is Patek with a catch, and the inning is over. So the National Leaguers strand a man, can't punch around, and we remain tied at 3-3 after 4 innings of play. Sorensen on the mound for the American League against George Foster for the National League. That ball punched over to the right side, and Frank White makes it look easy. 1 out.
There you saw the great range of Frank White. Frank will play a little bit deeper second base with nobody on than a lot of second basemen will, but he has such great range. And watch where he makes the play on this particular ball that Foster hits. He hits it off the end of the bat. There he is. He's out in the outfield grass to throw him out, and it makes it look just like a routine play.
Batter is Greg Luzinski with Raleigh Fingers of the San Diego Padres now up and throwing in the bullpen. A number by Luzinski. Frank White again right there. 2 down. It's a 1-4-3.
And there you had a chance to see White as he had to change his motion. He had to change his complete direction. That ball off of the glove. He's playing the ball back up the middle. Off of the glove of Sorensen. White now has to cut back. And another. Ho-hum.
But he's got that loose, rangy stride, covering more ground than you really think he's covering. He, of course, a product of Ewing Kaufman's old baseball academy.
Ewing says you can start it again.
Really?
Yeah.
If he can find more Frank Whites.
Right-hander Raleigh Fingers of the San Diego Padres throwing.
To Patek. Inning is over. So, score remains 3-3. We'll be back with more of the 78 All-Star Game after this word from our local stations.
A couple of base hits, number of fielding chances, all handled flawlessly.
Here's the second baseman, Frank White. This is his first time at bat. Pops him up right side. It might be playable. It will be playable. There's Garvey. Out number 3. The American League is gone. 1, 2, 3. And we are still tied at 3. There's Bob Uecker.
He is a tremendous human being. There you see, it's called Winfield Pavilion. And he's a tremendous all-around athlete.
There's Brett in the hole, in the dirt, and a good play by Carew. Now, Rodney, we've seen what he could do with the lumber, showing you a little leather right here.
Well, watch this again. Brett didn't quite know what to do with it. The ball played him. Then he had to hurry the throw. And Carew is so versatile. Comes up.
Well, the secret here, the ball bounced on the grass far enough away from Carew that he made it just like a regular routine.
American League team in 54 and 56.
And now his son Bob dons the tools, and he'll go back behind the plate. And they'll face Freddie Patek to lead it off. Out on deck is Larry Herzog of the Milwaukee Brewers. 0-1 to Patek. Pops him up foul. That'll be out of play. Bob Boone will hit in the 8th spot. Pitch by Fingers. So Patek down swinging. That is the 5th National League strikeout, and here comes Larry Herzog. And the relay back not quite in time as Carew fools you with his speed. Now that'll bring on George Brett, who is 2 for 2. He doubled in the 1st. That scored a run. He had a sacrifice fly in the 3rd to drive in another. And he singled in the 5th. There goes Carew. They get it. Boone to the shortstop, and the American League is gone here in the 7th inning. No runs on a hit, no errors, and they leave nobody. As we go to the last of the 7th, a 3-3 tie. We got the Kansas City infield on the left side with Brett and Patek. Their other half on the right side is White of Kansas City and Carew of the Minnesota Twins. The outfield, that That is the infield of the American League. Look at where White is playing at second base. And Smith goes down swinging. Told you that Kern can bring up some heat.
From the center field camera, Rose going with the pitch. Snap wristing it right down the left field foul line into the corner. So technically, even if though the league records don't show it, he's hitting 26 straight games.
That's right, and we have a runner now for Pete Rose at second base. The Dodgers, Davy Lopes will go in and run for him. Here's Joe Morgan. Base hit right here, and he bypasses Mickey Mantle. I'll tell you one thing, they better keep an eye on Davy Lopes. He had a jump and a half off of that bag at second base. See Patek trying to keep him close, and Kern giving him a double look.
We're sick of Dodgers!
2 balls and no strikes to Morgan. Brett back behind the bag at third. You see Patek now is cheating a little bit to his left. He was not over there to start with. There's the third baseman, Brett. But he's got to get a good jump with that catcher behind the plate, Jim Sundberg. He's got a gun. Here's Evans. Let's see if he challenges his arm. Lopes tags. And no, sir. Words around on Mr. Dwight Evans. He will not go to third.
No right fielder, but no right fielder in baseball positions himself better for the forthcoming throw as he awaits the ball than Dwight Evans.
Billy Martin going to the mound, and he will chat with Kern, Frank White, and Jim Sundberg. Of course, Billy managed Sundberg at Texas. You've got the hitter, George Foster. You've got first base open. Foster, an excellent fastball hitter. And the man hitting in the fourth spot, the way the lineup has turned over, it's the pitcher's spot. That is Raleigh Fingers. We've already seen Bruce Sutter go into the National League dugout. It appears that he will come on and take over for Fingers, so Tommy Lasorda undoubtedly will go to the bench. And we'll see what happens here. That's the story. A 3-3 tie. 2 outs in the National League 7th. 1-1 the count. I'll never forget the exhibition he put on at Shea Stadium. I think that was about 1964. He just kept hitting them off of that scoreboard in Shea Stadium. Each one was higher. Off of the shin guard, getting away from Sundberg, and the runner to the bench. Somebody's got to cover home plate. And now they finally get there as Lopes, he rounded the bag. Chuck Tanner was way down the line waving him on. And it was George Brett and Guidry remembered what he had to do. There's Freddie Lynn. And that is out number 3. The National League is gone. And we'll be back with more of the 1978 All-Star Game after this word from our local stations. There's Lopes, a second baseman. Now, right now, we go to the 8th inning of play, and Keith, take it away.
Jack Clark is in right field, Don. The San Francisco Giants, fine young player who's meant so much to them this year. But we're looking right now at Bruce Sutter as he's pitching to George Brett. And he has him at 1-2 with that funny split-fingered pitch that he fancies and does so well with.
When you get a pitch from him above the knees, it's a victory.
Brett beats it on the ground, foul.
You get some great camera shots here from our guys on that center field camera to watch that ball go down that Sutter's throwing. The pitch just before the last one here that Brett fouled off. That thing really, the bottom fell out of that thing. It was unbelievable.
Davy Lopes will be hitting in the number 1 spot, the leadoff right. There's his Mrs. Bruce Sutter there. So Tom Lasorda finagling his roster around, keeps speed at the top. In Lopes, that's rolled on the ground to Davy. He throws to his teammate Steve Garvey, and one's out.
Well, there was a case right there of Gossage just trying to throw it as hard as he can. He's not even close, and Sundberg has no chance whatsoever. And you see Concepcion saying, come on, let's go. No play at the plate. The National League leads 4-3.
I would say a very good candidate for MVP right now becomes Steve Garvey.
No question. Key offensive player of the game.
National League breaking the tie. Shot to left center field. That's up the alley. Lemon over. Chetnik kicks it. He kicked it. Concepcion will go to third. And into second goes Dave Winfield. Gossage very wild since coming in. And here comes Herzog to the mound. There's Mrs. Concepcion and son.
Interesting that Billy sent Whitey out this time.
It is interesting. And I would have to think that Whitey Herzog is saying, hey, now let's stop and think a little bit. Just don't stand out here and just throw this thing as hard as you can and not have any idea. Let's have some kind of an idea as you see Flanagan of the Baltimore Orioles. Oh, it doesn't make any difference how hard you throw. If you get behind and then have to come in there, these guys can hit it.
Past the mound. Nettles the play, and Greg gets him.
Well, this has to be a simply dreadful experience for Gossage. Look at Martin. It's happening to his own pitcher.
Jack Clark swings and misses.
Billy Field snake bit. Everything going wrong for him this year.
2 out. There it goes. The throw through. He's out. Well, how do you do? Davy Lopes gunned down on a fine throw by Sunbird.
And you look at it again. Davy Lopes won't believe he's out.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
But he is. And it's now 7-3 National League.
Where do you think that is on the Green Monster in Fenway?
In the screen.
You got the people standing on their feet there.
Here comes Darrell Porter now out of the dugout with the bat. Kansas City catcher. Darrell Porter.
Well, it's all right for the American League to keep saying an All-Star Game is not a test of league strength. It's all right for the American League through Billy Martin this time around to say the World Series is the real test. In perfect truth, as we look at Tom Lasorda come out to talk to his pitcher.
I think they're on the winning side. He said, I'll bring him in. And you saw Bruce Sutter shrug and shake his head and say, no, I don't care. And so here's another man that gets a chance to see some active play in an All-Star game.
So the veteran knuckleballer, who's flirting with 40, will be pitching to Darrell Porter. I'll tell you, if he gets his dancer going, he can just flat wear you out. You just knock holes in the air all night long with that thing. Ball 1. Eddie Murray's in the on-deck circle. Porter hits it high in the air, and Eddie won't get a call. Say comes in foul ground, makes the catch, and the ball game is over.